Welcome back to another episode of Sports-Fixx. I am your host, Carson Becker, and we're here for the preview of Week 2. We had a great Week 1, a lot of great games in Week 1, a lot of great matchups in Week 1, top 25 matchups, and there's a lot of changes to the AP Top 25. We'll see some teams went up, some teams lost. There's some upsets, ups and downs. Some big teams won, big teams lost. So we'll kind of go through that, and then we'll look into Week 2. Look at the preview, all the game, most of the games that are going on, some of the big ones. We'll go over and kind of just look straight into Week 2, see what's going on. A little bit of a slower week in Week 2, not as many good matchups, not as many top 25 matchups there in Week 2, but still go over some games, see what's coming up for Week 2. And we'll start with the AP Top 25. Obviously, Ohio State versus Texas was the best game of Week 1. Ohio State ends up winning that game, so Ohio State comes in at number 1 in the AP poll, moving up 2 spots after that win. You then got Penn State at 2, State at 2. They beat Nevada. Not much of a game there. Kind of beat them up as expected. 3 is LSU beating Clemson in Clemson, moving up 6 spots there. LSU is 1-0 and the number third ranked team in the AP poll. You got Georgia went up to 4, moved up 1 spot. Miami up to 5, moved up 5 spots after beating Notre Dame at home. Carson Beck and company winning that one. He threw 2 touchdowns, looked pretty good. Oregon moved up 1 spot to 6. Texas dropped to 7, moved down 6 spots, which to me, a little too far of them to drop for me, but it's still early in the ranking. If they win out, they'll definitely move right back up and everything else. Some of these teams are going to lose. These teams had to play each other above them. So you'll definitely see a lot of changes in these rankings, but for now, they are 7th in the AP poll. Clemson is sitting at 8, dropped 4 spots after losing to LSU at home. Notre Dame is 9, dropping 3 spots after losing to Miami. South Carolina goes to 10, moved up 3 spots after beating Virginia Tech in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Illinois is 11, moved up 1 spot. Arizona State is 12, moved down 1 spot. Florida at 13, moved up 2 spots there. Florida State, coming from what was technically their rank was 40th in the country based on the votes that they received for the top 25. They move from not ranked, 40th ranked in the country, to 14th in the country after that huge win in Tallahassee over Alabama. Great win for them. Tommy Castellanos could make some noise in that one. You never know. They could be in the ACC championship if they keep playing like that. Now it's still too early. It's 1 game, but look for them to maybe make some noise in the ACC. Michigan dropped 1 spot to 15. Iowa State jumps up 6 spots to 16. Now, as you remember, they played Kansas State in Week 0 in Dublin and won that game, so that's a big reason they're jumping up that many spots. They are 2-0 as well. SMU, 17, dropped 1 spot. 18 is Oklahoma, which they stayed the same. Texas A&M is 19. They also stayed the same. Ole Miss at 20 went up 1 ranking there. Alabama falls to 21, dropping 13 spots. One of the biggest drops we've seen in a team after losing to Florida State and Tallahassee. Tennessee at 22 jumped up 2 spots. Jumped up 2 spots there after beating Syracuse and Atlanta. Indiana dropped to 23, dropped 3 spots. Texas Tech dropped 1 spot at 24, and Utah went from not ranked to 25th in the country. And that is our AP poll going into Week 2, going into this weekend here. And a lot of these teams are not really going to play very good teams this weekend. It's just not going to happen. It's Week 2. A lot of them, if they played warm-up games last weekend, they're probably in another game that's pretty much a warm-up as well in this weekend. There's a couple ranked matchups. Might only be 1 ranked matchup. It might be Michigan, but there's some good games. There's some like an SEC game in here that I'll talk about that could be a good game. It's ranked on not ranked, but it's 2 SEC teams, which is always a good matchup. But we'll start on Friday night, September 5th, this week, September 5th, 2 days from now. JMU plays Louisville. Louisville is 12.5-point favorites in that one, 57.5 over under in that one. Look for Louisville to most likely, I think Louisville does win. I don't think they win by 12.5. I think they win by more 7, maybe 10. But look for Louisville to win that one. Maryland plays Northern Illinois. Maryland's favored by 17.5. Like I said, not a lot of big games this weekend. You're looking at Boise State plays at 9 p.m. on Friday night, looking to avenge that loss they had down in South Florida, playing Eastern Washington. There is no line for that one, but those are all the games on Friday. Then on Saturday, you open up Minnesota plays Northwestern State. Penn State plays Florida International. Texas looking to get their first win on the board versus San Jose State. They're favored by 36.5. Penn State was favored by 42.5, if anybody's wondering there. Syracuse looking to get their first win on the board, favored by 6.5 at home against UConn. Florida State plays East Texas A&M. Not much of a game there. SMU plays Baylor. Baylor actually didn't play terrible in that game last week. They actually only lost to Auburn by 14 there last weekend. So look for them to maybe have a tough game. Give SMU a tough game. SMU only favored by 2.5 in this one. So look for that to maybe be a little bit of a good game on Saturday at noon. You got UVA is playing NC State. Could be a good game there. ACC matchup, so a little bit of complications in that. Indiana plays Kennesaw State. One game here, Iowa versus Iowa State in Iowa State. I think this could be a good game here. I do think Iowa State wins. They're favored by 3.5 at home. Iowa, not typically a team that's had a lot of offense in the last couple years. Last year they had a better offense, but look for that to maybe be a good game. Iowa State is looking pretty good this year. I do see Iowa State winning, and I do see them winning by more than 3.5 in this one. But look for that to maybe be a better game than people expect. Texas Tech, 24th in the country, play Kent State. Illinois has to go to Duke, which could make some rumbles down there. Illinois is 11th in the country. They're only favored by 2.5 down there in Duke. So look for that to maybe be a good game. That game is at noon. 19th in the country, Texas A&M plays Utah State. Shouldn't be much trouble there. Favored by 31.5. Ohio State at number 1 plays Grambling State. Should not be much trouble there. Georgia Tech. I really do think Georgia Tech is a good team this year. And they're coming off that 1-0 win. They're coming off that win against Colorado in Colorado with maybe a little bit of a controversy there with Deion Sanders and his timeouts, but look for Georgia Tech to maybe be good in the ACC again. They weren't terrible last year, but look for them to maybe be good. Got some other games here. The Ole Miss Kentucky, that's the SEC game I was talking about. Ole Miss is 20th. Kentucky is not ranked, but it is in Kentucky. Ole Miss is favored by 9.5. I think that game's a lot closer than people expect. Look for Ole Miss to maybe win by 7, and Kentucky maybe even have they're going on a game-tying drive at the end or something like that. Maybe it could happen. And there's SEC. There's always crazy stuff happening in the SEC. Number 6, Oregon plays Oklahoma State at home in Eugene, favored by 29.5. Shouldn't be much trouble for them there. Clemson plays Troy at home. Shouldn't be much trouble for Clemson. Georgia plays Austin Peay at home. Kansas versus Missouri could be a good game. It could be a game to watch at 3:30 there. Tennessee, 22nd in the country, plays East Tennessee State there. Like I said, not a lot of good games here this weekend, but still some games to watch. A lot of games to watch on Saturday, games to watch on Friday. You also got NFL on Thursday and on Friday, so if you don't want to tune into the college football games, maybe you tune into the NFL games. Also, NFL games on Sunday, obviously. Florida plays South Florida. South Florida coming off that big win against Boise State down in South Florida. They now got to go into Gainesville to maybe get a win. Maybe a good game. Probably not. I don't expect it to be. I think Florida blows them out. I think USF just played a really good game against a Boise State team that lost a lot of their offense in Ashton Genty. So I'm not looking for USF to be too good, but maybe it could be a good game there. Utah plays Cal Poly. Miami plays Bethune-Cookman. Not sure who that is. Miami's 5th in the country, like I said earlier. That's a night game. South Carolina at 10 plays South Carolina State. Not much surprise there. Not too many good games. But then you got at 7:30, you got 15th ranked Michigan has to go to Oklahoma, to Norman. and play the 18th ranked Sooners there. That should be a good game. It's 7:30 night game in Oklahoma. I think that should be the best game you're seeing this weekend. That should be a really good game. Oklahoma is favored by 4.5 in this one. I not really sure. I didn't really watch much of the Michigan or Oklahoma game last week, but I did hear some good things about Bryce Underwood and that Michigan quarterback. Maybe give him a little bit of upper hand, but I'm thinking night game in Norman. Give me Oklahoma in that one. I just think playing at home for Oklahoma is going to give them a little bit more of an advantage. That freshman quarterback's going to have to go into a pretty tough environment early in his second career start, so look for Oklahoma to maybe win that one. That should be a good game, though. You then got Arizona State, Mississippi State. After that, it's at Mississippi State, so Arizona's only favored by 6.5. A little bit of, so that could possibly be a good game. You got Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech could be a good game. Virginia Tech favored by 1.5. They're at home. Alabama versus Louisiana Monroe. Alabama at home, looking to get their first win of the season versus Louisiana Monroe, favored by 36.5. Should get it done there at home. Alabama very rarely loses at home, so look for that one. And then we even have a Sunday game here. We got Hawaii versus Sam Houston at Hawaii, and it looks like it starts at, this app says it starts at 12 a.m., so I think it's actually on Saturday night at Sunday morning at 12. So, but that's a really late game if you're up hanging out, maybe watch Sam Houston, Hawaii late on Saturday night going into Sunday morning. There's also some other night games down there. BYU, Stanford, 10:15. UC Davis versus Washington starts at 11. It's a very late game. These are all Eastern times, of course, but a lot of games, a lot of football still to watch. Maybe not as good of football to watch this weekend, but a ton of games to watch, and I will be watching a lot of games on Saturday as well. Even going to be at the Alabama game on campus there. So, should be a lot of football to watch. That is all I have for today. This is a preview for week 2. After week 2, I will go and do a recap of week 2 and kind of recap all the games. Hopefully, we have some good games that I can talk about for next week. But thank you for watching.